Picture this: a seemingly ordinary quarter dropped into your palm, its familiar heft and coloration brushing against your fingertips. Yet this isn't just any everyday change rattling around in your pocket. This particular quarter, struck in 1993, carries a story woven through American history, minting quirks that make it a treasure in disguise, and auction results that have seasoned collectors giving each other knowing nods. As we peel back the layers of metallurgy, mint records, and collector lore, you'll discover why this unassuming piece of currency has turned the numismatic world on its head, and why, when you next sift through your rolls, you might be holding something far more valuable than face value. Way back in the early 1930s, the United States Mint introduced the Washington quarter as a tribute to our first president's bicentennial, replacing the classic standing Liberty design. Fast forward 6 decades, and by 1993 this design was a stalwart of pocket change, yet under the surface, a fascinating blend of history and production nuance was unfolding. Although clad copper-nickel quarters were everyday fare by the 90s, the Mint continued to refine striking techniques to satisfy both the Federal Reserve's needs and the burgeoning interest from collectors. In 1993, most quarters rolled out of Philadelphia, no mint mark, or Denver, D mark, while the San Francisco branch produced proof examples reserved for set sales. That year's pieces, simple at first glance, hold a backstory of shifting minting practices and evolving collector demand, setting the stage for the rarity we know today. At first blush, a standard 1993 Philadelphia or Denver quarter might seem ubiquitous, but a closer eye reveals varieties that command attention. The most talked about is the 1993 P double diobverse DDO error, officially cataloged as FS501 by seasoned graders. On these rare specimens, you'll notice that George Washington's profile, and especially the inscriptions Liberty and In God We Trust, appear subtly duplicated, offset by a hair's breadth. Only an estimated few hundred of these DDO quarters have been confirmed, making them a true needle in a haystack find. Meanwhile, San Francisco proof quarters exist in 2 distinct finishes: the standard proof clad and the special 90% silver proof variety, each boasting razor-sharp fields, frosted devices, and mirror-like backgrounds. Between die polishing, subtle die cracks, and cameo contrasts, these proofs have become prized jewels among collectors who prize both eye appeal and mint provenance. Perhaps the most tangible way to appreciate the 1993 quarter's allure is to look at auction results. In recent years, a PCGS-graded PR70 DCM, Deep Cameo, 1993's silver proof quarter commanded over $1,200 at a major New York sale, driven by the specimen's flawless strike and breathtaking cameo contrast. Meanwhile, a PCGS MS67 example of the 1993 PDDO error sold for nearly $3,500, showcasing just how far minor doubling can elevate value when paired with high grade. Even coins in lower grades have exceeded expectations. A raw MS64 1993 PDDO piece fetched upwards of $400 on online auction platforms, far beyond the typical 25 cents face value. Compared to standard uncirculated MS63 pieces, trading in the $2-3 range, these auction milestones underscore the premium that rarity and condition command among dedicated numismatists. Beyond dollar signs, the 1993 quarter carries a handful of intriguing tales. One collector recounts discovering a DDO error tucked inside a merchant roll. He'd purchased spare change for $25, expecting the usual haul of common sense, only to unearth a 6-figure coin once authenticated. Another story involves a mint employee who, during die preparation, remarked upon unusual die where that could produce doubling, yet the notice was reportedly lost in paperwork, feeding speculation about how many error pieces ever escaped into circulation. On the proof side, aficionados debate which 1993's silver proof quarter boasts the brightest mirrors. Some swear by early strike examples from the first few thousand coins struck, while others prize late-run specimens that show sharper frosting yet still boast deep mirrors. These anecdotes highlight just how human the minting process is, and how tiny imperfections can become legends. Of course, Condition reigns supreme in driving a coin's market value, and the spectrum for a 1993 quarter spans from pocket-worn to museum quality. A typical circulated quarter exhibiting moderate bag marks and light wear might still sell for 50 cents to $1.50 among bargain-hunting collectors seeking holes for their typesets. Step up to an uncirculated MS-60, MS-62 example, and you're looking at anywhere from $2 to $5, reflecting untouched luster and hairline contact marks. MS-65 slabs can command $15 to $25, particularly when the fields display full cartwheel flash. Above that, MS-66 and MS-67 grades prove rarer still, plunging toward hundreds of dollars for pristine cameo contrast strikes. Proof-clad specimens in PR69 condition fetch between $40 and $75, whereas the ever-elusive PR70 deep cameo silver proofs stand at the summit, where a single perfect coin can tip the scales at 5 figures of pedigree or exceptional eye appeal come into play. Amid all these technicalities, it's worth pausing to appreciate the simple joy of discovering one of these coins, especially straight from circulation. There's an undeniable thrill when you hold a seemingly ordinary piece, inspect it under a loupe, and notice that telltale doubling or that frosted cameo edge. For seasoned collectors, it's a reminder that numismatics is as much about detective work and serendipity as it is about spreadsheets and catalogs. And for anyone who might stumble upon a 1993 quarter in their pocket change, it's a nudge to look just a little closer, because sometimes a life-changing find is hiding in plain sight. As we gear up to explore our next featured coin, keep the 1993 quarter in mind, not just as spare change, but as a testament to how minting quirks, historical context, and collector passion converge to transform a humble piece of metal into something truly extraordinary. If you're already hunting through your rolls or planning your next auction bid, the world of 1993 quarters awaits with stories and values that go far beyond 25 cents. Soon, we'll turn our attention to another unsung hero of the desk drawer, the 1980 quarter, with its own unique twists and auction triumphs. Stay tuned. Shifting gears from the subtle doubling drama of the 1993 quarter, our next treasure hails from 1980. A year when the Washington quarter was quietly transitioning from a workhorse of pocket change into a sought-after collectible. At first glance, a 1980 quarter seems almost mundane, with more than $1 billion struck that year across Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, D-mint mark. Yet peek beneath that surface, and you'll find a wealth of stories. From die anomalies sneaking into circulation rolls to proof examples that dazzled collectors with mirror-like fields and frosted devices. As we dig into its backstory, minting quirks, and the auction prices that have seasoned numismatists raising eyebrows, you'll see why this 40-plus-year-old coin is far more than a mere 25 cents. By 1980, the Washington quarter design, born in 1932, had settled into its second half-century run, but the U.S. Mint was quietly refining striking techniques and experimenting with production volumes. That year, Philadelphia handled the lion's share of circulation strikes, while Denver churned out nearly 600 million coins, leaving Philadelphia's output at just over 440 million. This imbalance means that, paradoxically, the P issues often appear more frequently in circulated finds despite lacking a mint mark. Meanwhile, San Francisco exclusively struck proof quarters for collectors, opting for both standard proof-clad finishes and the ever-popular deep cameo, DCM finish. These DCM proofs, with frosted Washington busts contrasting against ultra-reflective fields, remain among the most visually stunning specimens from the era. From a rarity standpoint, the everyday circulation strikes are by and large common, but subtle die varieties and striking errors elevate certain specimens well above face value. The most collectible error is the 1980 D doubled die obverse, DDO, officially cataloged by die variety specialists as FS601. On these error pieces, the doubling is most pronounced on the words Liberty and quarter dollar, as well as along the edge of Washington's cheek. Experts estimate only a few hundred of these ever reached circulation before mint staff caught the anomaly and swapped out the die. Another sought-after oddity is the 1980D repunched mint mark, RPM. Known as RPM002, this variety features a slightly misaligned D that bears faint ghost impressions of an earlier punch, an idiosyncrasy that draws collectors hunting for offbeat minting history. When it comes to auction records, the 1980 quarter has enjoyed some surprising highs. In 2023, a PCGS-graded MS67RD Red 1980D sale set a new benchmark, hammering at $1,800 in an online auction after spirited bidding among top-grade type collectors. Meanwhile, a PCGS PR70 DCM 1980S proof quarter commanded $650 at a specialty auction in January, celebrated for its razor-sharp strike, perfect fields, and stellar cameo contrast. Even more modest proofs attract attention. PR69 DCM examples typically sell in the $150 to $250 range, a strong premium over the $40 to $60 fetched by PR69 standard proofs. On the error side, an MS65 example of the 1980D DDO brought $275 this spring, showcasing that even mid-grade doubles resonate with collectors who prize the thrill of a mint error discovery. Stories from the field abound. One graduate student reportedly uncovered a 1980p DDO error while sorting through loose change donated by local businesses to fund a campus art project. When the error was authenticated, the quarter's owner used the proceeds to finance a summer exhibition, proof that numismatic finds can change lives in unexpected ways. In the world of proof enthusiasts, chatter persists about coins struck early versus late in the striking run. Some insist that the first 5,000 DCM proofs exhibit deeper contrast, but occasionally show faint die drag marks, while the last few thousand boast crisper frosting with near-flawless mirrors. Across collector forums, debates still flicker over which tranche produces the most breathtaking specimens. Of course, condition makes an enormous difference in value, and the spectrum for a 1980 quarter ranges from humble pocket finds to museum-perfect showpieces. A typical worn example, with flattened details and light bag marks, might trade for 30 cents to $1 among dealers clearing out bulk lots. Move into uncirculated territory, grades MS60 to MS62, and values rise to $3 to $6, reflecting untouched luster and minimal contact marks. Coins graded MS65 command $12 to $20, particularly when the surfaces retain full cartwheel flash and display minimal hairlines. Above that, MS66 survivors dip into rarity. Examples in this lofty grade can fetch $75 to $120 depending on eye appeal and strike quality. For error varieties, an MS64 1980D DDO piece might go for $100, while the rare high-grade MS66 could top $500 if the doubling is bold and the field's clean. Proof grade values follow a similar gradient. Standard PR65 proofs clad trade in the $25 to $40 window, while PR67, when the mirrors glow without distracting abrasions, routinely brings $75 to $100. The coveted PR69 DCM proofs, prized for textbook cameo separation, hold a floor around $150 and can top $300 in the right circles. PR70 DCM coins, the unblemished unicorns, sit at the apex, where pedigreed examples with strong provenance often sell for $600 to $1,000 or more, especially when backed by top grading services and pedigrees tracing back to the original mint set. Beyond price tags, the 1980 quarter offers trivia and tidbits that enrich any collection. Because Philadelphia's output was lower than Denver's that year, collectors assembling typesets often scour circulating rolls from bank trays in cities far from Denver's typical distribution. That hunt has become a rite of passage for many, akin to prospecting for nuggets in a stream. Another quirk, some 1980s proof quarters exhibit tiny die cracks that look like spider webbing across Franklin D. Roosevelt's profile, an unintended hallmark that some collectors prize for character, dubbing the variety the spider web proof. As you reflect on the journey from a common pocket coin to a numismatic prize, the 1980 quarter underscores how subtle production choices, mint-level errors, and collector passion converge to transform ordinary change into collectible art. If you've been sorting through rolls or eyeing that unexamined proof set on a dealer's shelf, know that every scratch-free mirror and every faint ghost of a mint mark tells a story and might just hold unexpected value. With our tour of the 1980 quarter complete, we'll soon wrap up by tying together what these two coins reveal about the thrill of modern coin collecting and why even the most familiar designs can surprise you at any turn.